Israel Chai, my brothers and sisters struggling in an unprovoked war in Israel. This is Reb ben-Emmett with a special newscast. As you know, Israel woke up to a horrific attack by Hamas, an unprecedented attack, a surprise attack. They say, some analysts, military analysts say, the greatest military attack since 1963 Yom Kippur War. I was too young and too naive at that time to even pay attention, but I'm self-aware now. For me, I had Shabbat this Saturday morning, like everyone does. Everyone is there with you, and the finishing out Sukkot, and then looking forward to Shemini Azeret, leading up to Simchat Torah. But how did my brothers and sisters Israel, some of them are Kardi, how did they spend ending their holy Sabbath? How did they spend the Shemini Azeret? How did they spend the Simchat Torah? They spent it in bomb shelters. The numbers are going up as I speak. There may be up to 300 Israeli Jews, most of which are civilians, that have been murdered in this conflict, killed indiscriminately. Let me give you a few details. I saw bulldozers along the Gaza Strip, neighboring the border within the Negev Desert, going toward the direction of Yisrael. Kibbutz are throughout that area, Yemenite kibbutz. They actually use a bulldozer to crash through a barbed wire fence, and then they had biker gangs that drove through with AK-47s and other lethal weapons. They stormed other communities. They kidnapped up to 50 people that have been kidnapped so far. I'm talking about civilians and some soldiers as well. Women and men as well were kidnapped. Going into communities throughout Israel, attacking them indiscriminately, literally shooting women out in the street, walking adjacent to stores and shopping centers and things of this nature, minding their own business, then having a biker come up behind them and shoot them. Bullet holes through cars, passerby cars. All of this is horrific, and it's not going well at all. Who's suffering the most? The naive Palestinians in Gaza who elected Hamas, a splinter group from Muslim Brotherhood, a terrorist organization, since 2007, and our stupid U.S. President, George Walker Bush, trying to wheel and deal for peace with people that do not want peace. Hamas's constitution says they want to extinguish the Jewish people. They want to continue the final solution that Hitler and the Third Reich attempted. They even quote him in many respects. This has been a festering hornet's nest in Gaza since 2007 at least. Operation after operation, in some of them required a land invasion, has not wiped out Hamas. Nothing short of exterminating Hamas completely, like we did in Iraq with our surge under General Petraeus of Fallujah. We put out leaflets or dropped leaflets out to that city, evacuated many people we could, and we carpet bombed that city and went from door to door with our troops and shot dead the terrorists. We didn't take any prisoners. We shot them dead. Why are we focusing on taking any prisoners from Hamas right now? For intelligence gathering? This is the worst joint U.S., Israeli, Mossad, the CIA intelligence failure since the Gulf War. Since we went in the Gulf War, the second Gulf War was based on shoddy intelligence. General Colin Powell said that, hindsight 2020. So what are American Jews going to do about this? I'm going to move my family as soon as humanly possible to Israel. I'm too old to fight in the IDF, but I have enough fighting strength in me as a third troop myself. I would gladly put on a uniform and I would serve Israel with all my might. I'd rather die there as a Zionist, fighting for the Torah, fighting for the Jew there, than die as a coward someplace else. Please pray for the peace of Jerusalem. You may not be able to identify with these people here in Israel, but you probably, many of us in America and abroad do have cousins, do have family, do have brothers and sisters, some of which have grandparents there in Israel. Folks, it's time to come home. It's time to come home to Israel. This is the Mashiach days. Why is Jehovah allowing this to happen? Because we let our guard down? Because of stupid judicial reform in Tel Aviv, led by Benny Gantz, the Blue and White Party? It was so infectious in that liberal wokeism, the progressive socialism, the communism there. I'm talking about Marxist communists are in control of Tel Aviv now. That it impacted and infected the IDF's leadership as well, who were for judicial reform, who were for a coup. You hear about insurrection during the 6th in the United States. Well, this was going on in Israel. We let our guard go down. We focus on judicial reform. The lefties in Tel Aviv distracted the entire world, and now we're paying dearly the price, the ultimate price, our lives. Is 6 million enough? Is 6 million enough? We say never again, but it's always again. Benjamin Netanyahu discarded you in America. I love you. I don't agree with all your policies. I think you're a pacifist. I don't think you're very observant. But you served in the IDF, and so did your father serve valiantly. But I'd rather have Benjamin Netanyahu at the driving wheel in Israel as prime minister than anyone else right now. I encourage you, Benjamin Netanyahu, Bibi, may I call you Bibi? I encourage you, stop listening to the United Nations. Stop listening to the smucks there. Stop listening to the world community. Stop listening to the United States. The president said a wonderful, wonderful speech this time, but why didn't he say it 2 years ago? Why did he delay inviting you, Bibi, to our country? Because he's supporting the Palestinians on one hand and says he supports the Jewish people on the other hand. I'm going to show you a video of something that's very prolific. I believe it's Muslims in Gaza who are mourning or calling to Allah to save them from the evil Israeli occupiers. My wife heard on various news outlets that Hamas is blaming the Jews and Christians and others for violating Allah's Hamas, which doesn't actually exist anywhere in Israel. It's in Saudi Arabia, according to your own Arab scholars, not my opinion. But this is a war that I've never seen before in Israel. But my eyes are wide open. The Torah Watchman will talk about it. I encourage you. It's all over YouTube. I'm not telling you anything you haven't heard. It's on every news outlet, both conservative and ultra-liberal. And everyone is saying the same thing. Why is this happening? Is it ever justified to butcher innocent civilians indiscriminately? I mean, these Palestinians took air gliders and were dropping bombs upon cars as they were passing by. And they're infiltrated throughout Samaria in every area. Jenin, Ramallah, and all the visceral, vile, contemptible speeches coming from Mahmoud Abbas, who should have been put on a house arrest years ago. They still allowed him to broadcast his hate against the Jewish people, both in Israel, the UN, and abroad. We need to close the PLO embassy at D.C. like Donald Trump did. We need to realign our strategy in America to be centered upon the Jewish people and not the Palestinians. Many countries, they may not say it in public, but hoping after this war, they are disgusted with the behavior of Palestinians. These Palestinians, I don't want to go into their history, but they're nothing more than Jordanian refugees that got caught on the wrong side of a country during the founding of Israel, independence in 1948 and it continued in 1967. They're nothing more than Jordanians. That 75% of Jordan are Palestinian, so-called Palestinian. And you can even say P in Arabic because the letter P does not exist. I encourage you, Palestinians, turn in your Hamas affiliates to Israeli officials. I encourage you, Palestinians in Gaza, if you're hearing me, create a civil war against the Hamas government and kick them out of there. Kick them the hell out of Gaza. And try to save what you can. Think about your children who are suffering. Stop teaching your children violence and murder against the Jewish people. You teach it in all your classrooms. I wonder who's innocent anymore. In closure, the Torah is very clear here. We are not, as Jews, to go out indiscriminately, attack other nations, other people, even to the point of saying, this land you're occupying is our land. We're not to do that premeditatedly. God gives that land to us if it's meant to be. But if they attack you, especially first, and kill your women and children, the Torah is very clear, like the Canaanites. That is your baseline, that's your template. You will wipe them out and exterminate them completely and utterly. May we all say Amen. Baruch Dayan and Matt for those people that passed away. I'm burning yahrzeit candles for people I've never met and never known. My whole day has been mourning, and I shouldn't be mourning. I have so much to be thankful for in this country, in my so-called walled city, fortress here. We have lost touch with our tribal ancestors. We've lost touch. How many Yom Kippurs do we have to go through? How many Rosh Hashanahs do we have to go through before we leave the exile that rabbinists have imposed upon us, return home to Israel? Take care. Shalom Aleichem. And peace be with you. Take care.